booktube, this is Breckie from Breckie Writes, this is Breckie Reads, and this is a pumpkin spice book haul. Okay, it's not actually a pumpkin spice book haul, and most of these books have nothing to do with the autumnal season, but it's the middle of fall, and I have 15 books to haul for you, so let's just get started. Now, there isn't really a rhyme or reason to the books that I've purchased. I'm going to group these kind of in how I ordered them. I have books that I pre-ordered, books that I got from my friends of a library bookshop, and then books I got from Book Outlet, so I'm going to group them like that. I don't remember when I got some of these, and basically the reason I'm hauling them is because I almost forgot which ones I've hauled and which ones I haven't. There are that many. It's kind of a problem. I might have a book buying addiction. The first book to haul is one that was sent to me in the mail by an author friend of mine, and that is Until Beth by Lisa Amowitz. This is the story of Beth Collins, a high school guitarist with a lot of talent and a lot of flair, but also with a crazy mystery surrounding her. Her boyfriend goes missing, her brother is injured in a car accident, and a mysterious new classmate may hold the key to what's going on. I am really looking forward to it. This is the first in the Until Beth series. Lisa kindly sent this to me after I won a contest, and I'm really excited to pick this up. I'm hoping to read it in the month of October and do a review for all of you. Then I got This Savage Song by Victoria Schwab. This is the first in a duology. They've just released the cover for the sequel. Now, I've already read this one, so I will leave the spoiler-free review linked down below in case you're interested, but this is about a unlikely friendship between a human and a monster in a world in which violence creates monsters. It is really interesting. It's very spooky, so if you're looking for a Spooktober read, this is a good one. My next book is one of my two most anticipated books of the year, and that is Crooked Kingdom by Leigh Bardugo. Now, as of this filming, I haven't actually read this yet because life has exploded, but this is the sequel to Six of Crows, and I am so excited. This is reuniting the ensemble cast that we had in the first book. They are off to save one of their own. I am really looking forward to it. I am hoping to read this soon before I get spoiled, but I had this on pre-order, and this gorgeous, beautiful book has finally arrived at my house. My other highly anticipated book of the year is Golden Hand by Garth Nix. Now, I am a huge Old Kingdom fan. I love Sabriel, I love Lyriel and Abhersen. I just think this is such a compelling world, and the whole idea of Abhersens and like the ability to walk in death and the bells, the whole system is fascinating to me and is one of the best YA fantasy worlds I have ever read. Hands down. So I am very much looking forward to Golden Hand. This takes place after the events in Abhersen and follows Lyriel and Nick as they are reunited. I just cannot wait to read this. I love this world so much. I'm just... I hope it's good. I've heard mixed reviews. Some people have really loved it. Some people have said it's fallen flat, and I want it to be good because I love this series, and we've waited years and years for another book in the series, so... highly anticipated. Highly anticipated. Okay, so the next round of books all came from my friends of a library book sale. There's a little book nook in my local library that sells used books that library patrons donate, and all of the proceeds go to supporting our library's ESL program. I will say, however, these books are on sale for a steal. Like, if I had less self-control than I have now, I would have bought 3 times the number of books, because all hardbacks are 50 cents. That's right, hardback books are 50 cents and paperbacks are 75 because they found that people prefer buying paperbacks over hardbacks, but 50-cent hardbacks, people, 50 cents. I just want you to think about that for a minute. I bought 5 books from them and that was only $2.50. That's less expensive than a cup of coffee. The first book I picked up from Friends of the Library book sale was Matterhorn by Karl Marlantes. Now, this is a sweeping epic novel of the Vietnam War. I have never read any Karl Marlantes, and this is not something I normally would pick up, but I heard a really great review of it on the Book Riot podcast, All the Books. I really trust Liberty and Rebecca's opinions and advice, so I picked it up. Again, it was 50 cents, so I figure even if I don't get to it right away, it's completely worth having. The next Friends of the Library book was State of Wonder by Ann Patchett. Now, there are a couple of reasons that I picked this one up. The first is that I think that this cover is beautiful. I love the simplicity of this. I love the detailing of this. I think it's just gorgeous. The second reason is that this book is mentioned in Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she tells the story of how Elizabeth Gilbert herself had this idea of a woman leaving her quiet Midwestern life to go in search of adventure in the Amazon, but it kind of fizzled out. And around the time that idea fizzled out, she met Anne Patchett and gave her a hug and a kiss, and the idea was transferred, they say, from Elizabeth Gilbert to Anne Patchett. This is the story of I think she's a pharmaceutical rep or something. She's a quiet Midwestern life and is sent to search for the son of her boss and has a crazy adventure in the Brazilian Amazon. So I'm just really excited about the story of how this came to be. I've never read any Anne Patchett, but I know that she is well beloved, and this is the kind of book I, again, don't normally reach for. It's sort of upmarket chick lit or kind of literary-ish. I don't generally read this stuff, so I am pushing my boundaries, hoping to read more broadly with this one. Speaking of pushing boundaries and also ginormous books, the next book I got is a chunker and completely out of my comfort zone. And that is The Luminaries by Eleanor Catton. This also came from Friends of the Library. This was 50 cents. This hardback, this beautiful, the spine is not cracked hardback, 50 cents. What is that? This has gotten a lot of buzz because it was a winner of the Man Booker, I think back in 2013. Yes, 2013. And it is a story of, I think, mine workers in New Zealand. And it's like a big sweeping epic of their lives. It is a chunk, and I don't know when I'm going to get to it. I also picked up A Sherlockian by Graham Moore. This is a murder mystery about Sherlock scholars. Part of this novel takes place in modern day when a contemporary scholar finds a missing story of Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and is murdered because he has it, and then part of the story, I believe, is the actual missing story. So it kind of goes back and forth, I think. I'm really excited, and this is definitely on an anticipated to-read list because mysteries always remind me of the fall. This is the kind of thing I just want to curl up with my pumpkin spice latte and just read all afternoon. The final book I picked up from the Friends of the Library bookstore was Red Queen by Victoria Aveyard. This book and the series is really hyped on BookTube, and I was kind of avoiding it because although it's gotten a lot of hype, there's also been some negative comments about how tropey this is, and I was kind of like, well, I'm not gonna invest my money in something that people think is tropey, but you know, like 50 cents, I can do 50 cents. So I am curious to read this and see if I think it's as tropey as other people have thought. I actually really like following Victoria Aveyard on Twitter because she and I have very similar political viewpoints, but I've also heard that she can be really mean to people who give her books bad reviews, so I don't know. I'm curious. Alright, all of the rest of the books came from a couple different book outlet hauls. Book Outlet has been running some great sales, and there are some books that I have been looking for and kind of keeping my eye on, and I had to just get them. I had to. The first one I got was Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. This is the story of Emmy, who moves to LA to pursue a life in the behind-the-scenes work on film sets and falling in love. Emmy is an out lesbian, and the coming out process has already happened before the start of this book, so this is not a coming out book. This is more I'm a happy queer woman who is going to be in a relationship and what that looks like in a new city and in a new career and what all of that means. I've heard great things. Cece of Problems of a Book Nerd loves this. I am looking for good, cuddly, warm queer love stories because so many of them are about the struggle of coming out as queer, and basically I want one where somebody's already dealt with that and they have a good support system and they can have a healthy relationship. Like, I'm ready to see that in literature because we need to have more of that to make queer relationships normative and not just always on the struggle bus. I also picked up from Book Outlet A Gathering of Shadows. Now, I wasn't going to buy this one until I'd read the first one just in case I hated it, although the likelihood of me hating it is pretty slender, but it was on super sale at Book Outlet and I really wanted to get it, so I picked it up. Even though I haven't read Darker Shade of Magic yet. But soon, now I can binge read them in preparation for Conjuring of Light, which I think comes out in February. It comes out in the winter. This is a book I already own, but my copy is real messed up, so I ordered another copy of The Hero and the Crown by Robin McKinley. Most of you who've been watching my channel know that I love Robin McKinley. I am such a Robin McKinley fangirl, and I just love her and think she's really underappreciated. This won the Newbery Award back, I believe, in the late 70s. This is about Erin, an unlikely princess who is just really different than everybody, and in order to prove her worth to her father, she goes off in search of fighting dragons, and she has lots of adventures. I love this book. It is definitely a young YA novel. It's not as advanced or as layered in plot as a bunch of other books I've mentioned, but this was so meaningful to me as a young teenager. Seeing a girl doing rad stuff like slaying dragons was just not normal when I was a teenager, so I love it. If you haven't read it, pick it up. It's so good and one of my very favorites. I picked up another sequel to a book I haven't actually read yet because I am trash and Book Outlet has things on sale, and that is The Rose and the Dagger by Renee Ahdieh. This is a sequel to The Wrath and the Dawn, which I also got from Book Outlet. Do we see a theme? We see a theme. I picked this up because it was on super sale and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna like The Wrath and the Dawn, so I wanted to be able to binge read these. It is only a duology, so I felt a little bit better about reading these two. This is a retelling of 1001 Arabian Nights, and this is the second half of that story, and I'm definitely looking forward to it. The last two books I got from Book Outlet are both nonfiction. They're probably not going to be quite as interesting to all of you, although maybe. They both have to do with religion because I am a comparative religious studies researcher. The first one is an older book that's been out for a while, and it's The First Paul, Reclaiming the Radical Visionary Behind the Church's Conservative Icon by Marcus Borg and John Dominic Crossan. These two guys are quite progressive. They are definitely on the liberal side of Christianity, but I'm always curious about how people use and interpret Paul. Paul is often used to keep very strict traditional boundaries, and I have learned those through my studies, so I'm curious to get someone else's interpretation. It's not that long, so I will be reading this hopefully in November. And now the university I work for is Jesuit, so of course I had to pick up Jesus, a Pilgrimage. This is by James Martin. James Martin is a Jesuit priest. SJ stands for Society of Jesus. I work at a Jesuit institution. I think that they're fantastic. I've actually never read any James Martin other than his articles in several magazines, and I find him fascinating, and I've heard fabulous things about this book. I happen to be a religious Christian, so I'll be reading it for devotional purposes, but if it's good, I will let you guys know in case that's something you're interested in. And that concludes my Epic Pumpkin Spice book haul. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Comment down below and let me know if you've read any of these and which ones were your favorites and which ones maybe I should hold off for later. Also, let me know if you have a book that you're really anticipating. For me, Crooked Kingdom and Golden Hand are my most anticipated books of this haul and also for this year. I'm so excited. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you all are doing well and keeping warm if it's cold where you are. I will talk to you very soon. Bye!